Alright, so I regret to inform you that I have lost a scenario. It was a little bit close in the end. It's a kill all monsters, and these are the final two monsters in the scenario, so I was 18 damage short, which isn't really that close. You know, it's about maybe one full round of everybody getting a really good turn off. But in the end, I lost, and so I figured rather than uploading the whole thing, an hour-and-a-half video of me failing and losing, and then another one of me succeeding, I figured instead we could just do some analysis, because we're in the unique position of having video of everything I did, and so we can pinpoint the mistakes I made and what I should have done differently, and hopefully I can learn from it, and get a little bit better at these characters and the synergy between. So this is the Frozen Fjord. We are coming onto a giant suspension bridge. Oops. And we want to cross it, but there are monsters on the bridge, so naturally we have to kill all of them. The monsters don't want us to cross, and so they can attack the bridge and destroy it. So you can see the scenario has 36 health here when it's full, but they move and find their focus like normal, so they will always move towards us if they have movement, but if they are not in range, once they finish that movement, they will attack the scenario instead. So I mean, in the end, my scenario still had 23 health, which means that I spent a little bit too much time tanking damage, and I didn't really let the scenario take as much as it could have. So I should have been playing a little bit slower in some places. But I think, you know, let's just go ahead and jump to the video, and we can see exactly what happened and what went wrong. So, I mean, turn one here, really this first room I wasn't too upset with. Turn one, I tried to go slow. If I can find it here, I guess, yeah, we can search with skipping 5 seconds at a time. So I tried to go slow here. You can see I went at 71, 81, and 83. But the Shrike Fiends were faster, or slower than me. And so I was just able to move up. I wasn't able to get any damage out. So I probably should have just played a ranged card on Banner Spear. And that would have been better, but I did not do that. Also, the heal banner would have been really good here, but I did not bring that, so that is another mistake. I definitely think the heal banner would have been the play. Had I had the heal banner, I think I would have won this scenario for sure. So that is just like a weird mistake that I don't know why I didn't bring it. It didn't even occur to me until just now. So turn one goes okay. The scenario ends up taking 8 damage, but Drifter gets to get set up. You know, Banner Spear's at least in position. I can't really go for any good formations right now, but I think I end up pulling the Shrike Fiend in on Banner Spear's turn, if we can find it. So yeah, Bone Shaper goes fast, Skeleton gets in, gets a little bit of damage out. Banner Spear's going at Javelin speed, so Banner Spear's going to pull the Shrike Fiend in and disarm it, which that's pretty nice. And then I've got attack for 3, targeting 3 targets coming out from the Shrike Fiend here, from Shrike Fiend number 2. So that's really annoying. But I'm in a good position for a good formation on the next turn, so I can go for a really nice meat grinder. And then I believe I just use armor to save. I've got my protective scepter to grant shield to the skeleton, and I've also got the warden's robes to give it 2 shield. So my skeleton's able to survive here. Drifter takes a little bit of damage. I mean, Drifter's side isn't really an issue at all. He's got the Relentless for Retaliate and Crushing Weight for extra damage, so attack for 4, Retaliate 2 every round with plenty of ability to heal itself. Drifter's in a totally fine spot. So here, yeah, I go for granted movement and a meat grinder so that I can just tell the Bone Shaper to go behind. And then the Shrike Fiends go at 9 here and make everything within range suffer. So on the top side, that means I'm suffering 8 damage, 10 if you count the skeleton, before it died. So that is a lot of damage to be suffering. And you can see I'm already in a really rough shape. 2 health and 5 health against 15 and 20. So I went for a really, really aggressive play here. Like I was saying on Bone Shaper, Banner Spear, I played the Meat Grinder with Regroup. So that'll be 2 attacks for 4. I Power Potion to make them attacks for 5. And then on Bone Shaper, I go for the Lost Bottom that lets you grant an attack 5. And then I played the Lost Top that lets you perform an attack 4 if you get the kill with that attack 4, you get to bring in a skeleton. So I command, so Banner Spear takes her turn and attacks both of them for 5, which is a very good turn with the Meat Grinder. And then I command the Wretched to give the attack for 5 and Malicious Convergence. And so I do end up picking up the kill on this top guy. I throw my items on it just to be sure. And so then that lets me get a skeleton out. And so now this top side's looking a little bit better than it was earlier in the turn, but I did have to play 2 losses on Bone Shaper to get there. But I think with this layout of characters, that was really the only way to let it happen. And then I think I just get really, really unlucky here. You know, there are, I think, 3 cards the Shrike Fiends have where they would just be hitting a single target. And so if they draw one of those, then they would go into the... How many cards is it? They're 90. They're 73. So they only have 2 cards where they hit a single target. But they could have gotten Dive Bombs and just hit 2 targets. And then everything else, I guess, hits 3 or more, which is crazy. Concentrated Flock also only hits 2 targets. So I had, what is it, a 50-50 chance? I don't know what cards were available for it here, but I had about a 50-50 chance, slightly better, that it was not going to hit the Bone Shaper at least. It would hit the Banner Spear and the Skeleton. And so I was hoping that the Skeleton could just tank for me and the Malicious Convergence would be worth it. But that's not what ends up happening. He ends up drawing a 3-target attack for 4. So I heal with Banner Spear. I play my brand new level 3 formation, where you and an ally next to you hit up to 3 targets for 2 with poison, and then you each heal for 2. But it ends up not being enough. I also throw the white card onto the Shrike Fiend so that it will be 3 attacks for 3 rather than 3 attacks for 4. And I've put 4 curses in their deck up until this point. You can see that they're at 22 cards. Well, you probably can't see it. It's probably really small. But they're at 22 cards right here. Oh, it's not even... It's being covered by the camera. Oh, that's... Yeah. Normally you can see it, but on this display, the camera's a little bit higher. So they've got 22 cards, and so now it's up to 24 cards. So it's a brand new deck. They just shuffled the last turn, but they've got 4 curses in there. So, you know, this is what I was hoping for. White card to make him just attack for 3, but it ends up not working out for me. Banner Spear has her disadvantage, which I'm not sure if that ended up helping or hurting. Banner Spear only takes 1 damage. My Skeleton had a +2 drawn on him, and then Bone Shaper, of course, gets the +1. Which kills. So I had to lose a card. So that's 3 cards lost in the first room, which ends up being the beginning of the end, I think. Also, this guy's still at 9 health, and I really, really mess up on this next turn. So, you know, I'm trying to look at the cards, trying to figure out what's coming next. I decided that since he had played 3 of his fast cards, odds were really good that he was going to be going slow. But I should have short rested here on Banner Spear because I don't have enough movement to go for a big pincer move, which is one of my final 2 cards I have remaining, Resolved Courage and Pincer Move. And so I should have just short rested, and then I could have played one of my move 4s with Pincer Movement and attacked. And I decided that it would be fine to go at 69 speed just because the odds were really good that the Shrike Fiend was going to be slower than that. And I think it does end up working. He gets 72, which is one of the best cards it could have been because it's just make everybody suffer too. And so my guys are going to survive that. But I don't really have any offense potential left. I have no skeletons to attack, so I don't get any like double attacking turns, so I just go for a melee attack for 2, which does almost nothing. And then I don't have enough movement to get in position for a formation since the Shrike Fiend ran so far away from me on the previous turn. So I end up just going for a move 2 and attack for 2. So had I short rested and had more movement, I would have had the pincer move. I think I still saved my Spyglass to this point, so there's a chance that it would kill. Yeah, I still have the Spyglass, but in the end, I only deal 2 damage, and so now I have to go for the short rest and the pincer move, and I believe that Bone Shaper is able to just long rest. So this finishes out the first room. The spyglass does allow me to pick up the kill. If someday. There we go. I did pull it and I did get the kill. And then Drifter is able to finish off his as well. But that left me in a pretty bad position after this first room. 1 health and 2 health. 3 cards lost, 4 after the rest. 4 cards lost on Bone Shaper. And so, what could I have done differently in this first room? I think one thing that would be really interesting to try is just putting Bone Shaper on the bottom rather than on the top, and letting Drifter, Banner Spear be dive buddies together. It works a lot better in that, like, Drifter is way better against these Shrike Fiends than either the Banner Spear or the Bone Shaper. Those characters are actually really, really poor. Both of them are really poor against the Shrike Fiends, just with all of the AoE damage. And so, had I put Drifter up top, I would have to do something really creative with the Bone Shaper. I'm thinking, like, try to keep my summons in the back and try to get out 2 skeletons, and then go really slow, let my skeletons move in closer but probably not be in range, command one of them to move up and attack, then play like Flow of the Black River to command the other one to get closer. And so if I can get 2 of them in range, I can get 1 attack for 2 off. Then the next turn I can go fast and use my Boots of Speed to get faster than them if I need to. And I can get 2 more attacks for 2 off, so that would be 3 attacks for 2. Then with my top, I could command them with Dark Tidings to both attack for 2, so that would be 5 attacks for 2. And then I could command one of them to attack for 5. With the other loss on the next turn, assuming one of them survives. And so I would get 5 attacks for 2 and an attack for 5, and then I can go in with my heavy sword and my, either malicious conversion or bone dagger or just a default attack 2 to try to get up to 20 damage. And I think that would be the best case scenario, because putting Bone Shaper up here in range of 2 of them means that if they ever get one of their cards where everything in range suffers 2, the skeletons are always dead. And also the Bone Shaper needs to be close, because the most effective thing she can be doing against them is cursing, since they can't be poisoned, can't be wounded, can't be muddled. So I think if I try this again, that is what I will try, is Bone Shaper on bottom, Drifter on top. And so I heal up my characters before going into the next room. Also, Heal Banner would have been really, really nice to have here. So I get up to about this point. I've healed up pretty significantly. I healed up more than I thought I had. 4 health and 9 health on my top characters. And so at this point, I decide that I need to go ahead and open the door, because Bone Shaper has lost a lot of stamina. Banner Spear also had to do like a weird short rest. So, oh, yeah, Banner Spear had to do the short rest earlier to pick up the kill while Bone Shaper long rested. And then I also took a long rest before going in this door on Banner Spear. Even though I had 3 cards in my hand, I just took it early because I wanted to get all of my items back, and I wanted to get that extra heal too to go in with my regenerate. So at this point, I do decide to open the door, and this is a scenario that I do not do in the speedrun, so I have not seen it for like 9 months since like the first month or so that I got my physical copy. So it has been a very long time since I played it. So I did not know what was going to be in the second room. I did not remember. I can see from Xhaven that there are snow imps and wind demons. But I was a little bit surprised by the layout. So we've got 3 wind demons on top and then 2 Shrike Fiends on the bottom, with the middle one being elite, which is just disgusting. And this is definitely where I think the biggest mistake of the level comes in. And this is another place where, in hindsight, I can see that switching the Bone Shaper and the Drifter would have been really, really good. Because while Drifter is okay against these Shrike Fiends, like, Drifter is definitely better against the Shrike Fiends than the Bone Shaper. And the Banner Spear, like, if she has a tanky ally, can do really well against the Shrike Fiends as well. She's got the tankiness to survive. Like, suffer 2s aren't the biggest deal. And, big hits for 5, hitting both for 4, things like that are really good. But I really need Drifter to be going into these Wind Demons. So I've got my Retaliate ticker, I've got Crushing Weight, and I also have Shockwave up. So I put 3 3 really offensive tools on Drifter, and those would be really, really good into the Wind Demons. Like, Crushing Weight basically ignores their 2 shield. Then Shockwave lets me damage adjacent ones as long as they are adjacent to each other. And Retaliate, Wind Demons, I believe they attack with every single card. I'm going to say I'm like 95% sure that they attack with every single card. And so Retaliate on them is really good. So I need my Drifter to get up to the top here to deal with these Wind Demons. And then, you know, Shrike Fiends can stand still a lot. So maybe the play should be to just hope that the Shrike Fiends don't really do much. But that doesn't really come true. That is not really the plan that I go for. So, and you know, Banner Spear is going to get pulled in a little bit here. I think I granted the Protective Scepter to get a little bit of shielding in. But Banner Spear goes in and is in a rough spot. Drifter is able to move in and do some damage to the Shrike Fiend, which the Banner Spear shot at range on its turn. And so I'm not opposed to this turn that I took here on the Drifter. It's just that I played Shockwave and I'm hitting a single target. This crit does end up really, really helping me. I think this is the only time early in this scenario that I crit, and there was an error with the scripting, so I had to like manually put the card away. This crit definitely helps bringing this Shrike Fiend down to 6, especially given that he's attacking this round, and so he will take some retaliate damage, which is nice. Unfortunately, I'm not in range to do the bottom curse, but I think I get up to at least 6 curses in their deck. And so coming up really soon, I have a turn where that's basically all I have to rely on. And unfortunately, the Wind Demons are not in an amazing position for a Tip of the Spear, which does have Pierce for the Banner Spear. So if it were Banner Spear Drifter up here, I could just see it being so different and so much easier and better. Get some retaliate going on. And yeah, I don't have a good formation to do with Banner Spear at all here. You know, I would really love to be able to move my characters and get a Let Them Come to get 2 poisons off on these Wind Demons. 7 health really isn't even that much though. It would be really nice if I could get like a good meat grinder or something like that on them. But I don't think the opportunity for that presents itself. And so I think right here was a big mistake of long resting Bone Shaper. We'll have to see what cards they end up drawing. Oh, yeah. So the Shrike Fiends play that wonderful card where they pull things in and make them suffer, which means that the Bone Shaper is going to be pulled in towards the Elite Shrike Fiend. So I decided to bring in the Banner of Courage here, because I figured that my best win condition was going to be to let Drifter carry the rest of this scenario, and so I just needed the Banner Spear to tank a little bit. I need to buy some time so that Bone Shaper can heal up and get like another summon or 2 out. Bone Shaper is just really kind of almost dead weight in this scenario here. You know, looking back at it, I think maybe just going for a big Bone Dagger here would have been good. And yeah, I mean, I even played Bone Dagger on this turn, so I think right here I should just, at 29 speed, I should have Bone Shaper come in. Bone Dagger with 1 summon is an attack for 5. With Heavy Sword, Spyglass would be attack for 6. Into 2 shield would be attack for 4. You know, I'm not killing, but attack for like 4 out of 7 damage with advantage means it's probably going down to like 2 health or so. And then am I in position for a Tip of the Spear? If I had just done Tip of the Spear here and killed this 1 Wind Demon immediately, that would have been pretty good. I guess I didn't play Tip of the Spear because I brought in the Banner of Courage, and I'm doing Resolute Stand because I'm at 10 speed. But I mean, even just with Resolute Stand, I should have Spyglass on Banner, and so if I Spyglassed on both these characters, the odds of me killing would be pretty good. And so it would be a loss, but on an already low stamina character, but there's just not that much that Bone Shaper is going to be able to offer in the rest of the scenario. So I think I didn't realize that fast enough, that just bringing in 1 or 2 summons at a time and getting off a couple attack 2s throughout throughout the rest is not going to be helpful enough. And then it's going to be the... I keep making the same mistake with Drifter of just leaving him to deal with the Shrike Fiends. So yeah, I mean, I think right here he's able to kill the Elite, which is nice. It at least gets the Bloodletting proc. It also means that the Bone Shaper is not going to have to suffer. So I was wrong about making a mistake in long resting here. I made the right call when I short rested so that I could at least have a turn. But I didn't go aggressive enough on the turn. And yeah, it's also a really awkward spot where the skeleton like can't really make up his mind on where to go. Well, I mean, he makes up his mind, but he's not in range to reach anything, which is really unfortunate. I just got up to 5 curses, which is really, really good. And I mean, that's definitely got to be my win condition. They have 14 cards left at this point, and 5 of those 14 are curses, which is pretty nice. But I just bring in another skeleton. Did I even play a bottom? Oh, my bottom I did Bone Dagger to get in another curse, but it would have been much better to just go for the kill with the top of Bone Dagger, I think. Because this other skeleton, I'm not sure if it's even really going to get a turn. I think it does like 1 or 2 attacks for 2. And so I take a little bit of damage. I get disarmed on the Banner Spear, which is really unfortunate. Also, my Banner of Courage took 1 attack, and the 1 attack that it took just happened to be a +1, which is really unfortunate. That puts it really, really low. And then we can see on this next turn, I've got my characters in this nice little triangle pattern right next to the enemies. And so what card do the Wind Demons draw? They draw their melee attack where they hit in a triangle pattern. I mean, you can't really script it any better than that. So I'm pretty screwed at this point. This is where I figured out that I really, really, really needed Drifter to be helping up top. And so I played a move 4 with my heal card on Drifter. And I wasn't sure when I played it whether I was going to be just doing a default attack for 4 onto the Shrike Fiend on the bottom, or if I was going to be doing the heal. But I decided, since I have all of my armor available on Bone Shaper still, and my skeleton's just taking a disadvantaged attack for 3, I figured that my odds were really good of either drawing a curse, because they're down to 10 cards now, and I think 4 of them are curses. Yeah, 4 of them are curses. And I also had, it's at disadvantage, and I have my armor that blocks 2. So I just needed a -1 or a curse, and my skeleton survives, and then it can at least do a little bit of something. So I decided to just bring the Drifter up top and heal, and then the target to heal is a tough choice. I mean, I really want this banner to stay alive to grant as much shielding as possible, because everyone adjacent to the banner receives a shield of 1. Also, I think I did the characters out of order, and I haven't done the Bone Shaper's turn yet, because the skeleton hasn't moved. Not that it's really too big of a deal, because I'm not attacking anything with anybody. So I do move the Bone Shaper away, and then I grant my skeleton 2 movement. So, yeah, I did not decide to move him in there. I considered it, just because it would block my banner from taking some damage, but instead I decided to move it closer to the Shrike Fiend, because this one guy isn't going to be able to take out the Shrike Fiend by himself, but they do immobilize, so I need him outside of range 3. I really think I should have put the skeleton in on these Wind Demons. I was really hoping that the banner would be surviving, but it is going to be attacked 3 times for 3 here, with some curses. And so I think it almost survives, but it ends up going down, not to the second one here. Yeah, I get the curse on the banner, but then the final guy, of course it's move 4 on this card. And so he's able to move 4 and hit the banner, and the banner. But Banner Spear takes almost no damage, which is kind of nice. Did I even do a turn on Banner Spear? You know, I can't remember doing anything on Banner Spear here. I think I might have accidentally skipped her turn. She is disarmed, so she can't really attack, but I maybe could have gotten in a better position. Yeah, I didn't do anything on her turn, which I don't know if there was anything good to do, given that I was disarmed. I think I didn't play my heal card on her because it was my only fast initiative, and I wanted to save a fast initiative for a tip of the spear here. So I'm okay with that decision. Also, with regroup, I can finally move that skeleton in position so that he can go after the Shrike Fiend. But now I'm in a very, very dangerous spot because all of my curses are gone. We can see they're down to 20 cards, and they're at a clean deck. So I don't have... The odds are not in my favor that anything will pull well. And then, yeah, the Shrike Fiend gets a 2-target attack for 5. I don't know why I did that attack at disadvantage instead of having him take a step backwards. He should have taken a step backwards, but I don't know. just a mistake there. But it doesn't really end up mattering that much. The skeleton survives with my armor, and wait. Oh, okay. Oh, did I think it was... I thought it was target 3 instead of target 2. So I had the Bone Shaper take an attack that she didn't have to, and she lost 2 cards! No! Did I really? Alright, let's see. I have unmuted myself. I have found the spot.
10.
Let's see what I was thinking. Because it looks like this is the mistake that makes me lose.
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dang. He's already in range of Bone Shaper. So that's very bad.
Yeah, I gave him an extra target.
Okay.
And
well, he attacks at disadvantage.
he is... Yeah, so I think everything I'm doing here is wrong because... Well, I guess he would have taken a step to the side here. Had he been 3 targets, he would have taken a step to the side to remove the disadvantage on his focus, and then he would have hit Skeleton and Bone Shaper. But...
And kills.
It's just 2 targets.
And then he attacks here. And he survives, and I've got...
What did I do?
Armor. Oh, could I have
What
armored
did
the
I
other guy for him to
do?
survive? I don't think so. I think he only had 1 health.
So dumb.
And it would have been attack for...
Alright,
Well, Warden's robes this guy so that he takes no damage. And then, into Bone Shaper. So we need to see -2 or miss. And that's going to be 2 cards. Because I have none in hand.
no, it's not going to be 2 cards because it was target 2, not target 3. Oh, what a cringe mistake. Wow, so I actually maybe could have won this still. What an idiot. Alright, well, I'm able to get a really good Fierce Barrage off here. Crushing Weight, so it'll be a 2-target attack for 4. With Shockwave, we'll make both of them suffer, and then it's a multi-target low damage card coming out of the Wind Demons. So they're going to take a lot of Retaliate too, which is really nice. I mean, as soon as Drifter gets up into these Wind Demons, you can see that they just get shredded. And then Banner Spear gets a good turn. She gets to command the Bone Shaper to come in for a tip of the spear. And then I've got my Spyglass here, so I think it does big damage. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, pretty huge damage. +2. I mean, would have been nice to draw the crit. I don't think I ever drew a shuffle card on Banner Spear at all here, and there was just a scripting error that was going to go away as soon as I did shuffle the cards, but it just never ended up happening. And then I realized here that I still had 1 more character I can move on regroup, and it's range 3, so I moved the skeleton in so that it can at least get an attack on to the Shrike Fiend here. And now all of these Wind Demons are going to retaliate. So I'm able to kill this guy as soon as he hits the Drifter. And then, unfortunately, this is where I also get another piece of bad luck. He's attacking for 2 into the Banner Spear. Banner Spear has no cards in hand, and so the attack into Drifter gets the -1. And that's my final tick of Retaliate, unfortunately. And then, of course, for good measure, the attack into Banner Spear, if I can figure that out. The attack into Banner Spear pulls a +1. And so... Wait, we gotta... Let me move this out of the way. We gotta see that reaction. Right here, we're gonna get the +1 drawn. And... Oh, what a fail. What a miraculous fail here. Alright, so I lost 2 cards from my hand. At least that one was, like, actually... I did actually have to do that one. All the targeting was correct. I don't think I had to do it. There was definitely a way I could have figured it out to make that not have to happen, but... Yeah, like, you know, I could have commanded the skeleton... If we can find it. Come on. If I had commanded the skeleton to come in, I could have at least forced disadvantage. And then it would have been a different card that's pulled, but I think that giving the skeleton the chance to attack the Shrike Fiend is probably the right play. Because the skeleton ends up, like, doing a lot of damage to the Shrike Fiend. You would think, like, a one-on-one skeleton v Shrike Fiend would not go well. It goes pretty decently. A lot better than you would expect. So at this point, I know that all of the scenario is up to Drifter, and so I'm just trying to get as much... as many of my ticks back as possible. And then, well, so yeah, here I was debating, do I want Drifter to go down? Because the Shrike Fiend is multi-target. Do I want the Drifter to go down to try to absorb the Bone Shaper's hit? But now that I look at it, this card is target 3, so Bone Shaper was getting hit no matter what. So I take the kill with Drifter, which gets to move one of my ticks back. I move, which moves a tick back, and then I get the kill, which gets a tick back. And so before going into the final rooms, I get as much resting off as I can, and I try to get as many ticks back as I can. So Banner Spear, I mean, she doesn't have any stamina left at this point, so she opens the door. No special rules, so it's just the monsters as they're laid out. And I think she kills the Shrike Fiend below, so that it doesn't get an attack for 1 into Bone Shaper. I messed up on this turn here for a little bit. I forgot to do the hide armor, so I thought my Bone Shaper was dead. But then I remembered the hide armor, so that's why she goes up in health. And then, unfortunately, these snow imps do a lot of damage. Attack for 3 brittle with 4 of them. I mean, attack for 2 and 3 for normal and elite with 4 of them is just kind of crazy. So Banner Spear, I think she ends up having to lose 1 card to damage here. But there wasn't really much I could do about it because the stupid Shrike Fiend got his pull card. So I went basically as far away from him as I could. But he was always pulling me in to take damage. But it definitely would have been more ideal to let the scenario get hit a little bit more here. I guess it took like 5 damage. And then I've got to figure out where to go with Bone Shaper. I decide to just go after this Snow Imp and try to kill it with a default attack for 2, I think. With the Heavy Sword and Spyglass, and I do get the kill. And then, like, Drifter basically had to long rest here. Like, he needs everything back that he can get. I really wish I had the perk to move a tick back on long resting. That would have really helped here, because I could have had to retaliate 1 turn longer from the long rest I did before I went into the second room. And so I could have, with all of these long rests, I could have had several ticks of retaliate left, which I think would have been the difference between winning and losing. I also should have had 2 more cards on Bone Shaper, which should work out to be like 3 or 4 extra turns based off when I lost them. Although I don't really know if that would have made the difference. And yeah, here I realized I made a really stupid mistake. I wanted to Javelin to take 1 step forward and pull the Shrike Fiend down. I can use the mouse. I wanted to take 1 step forward and pull the Shrike Fiend down and have the Bone Shaper go behind the Banner Spear for a tip of the spear. But then I realized that I can just do it this way instead and hit 2 imps. And I think I do finally pull... I have advantage on the first one from Spyglass, and then I finally pull my crit on the second one. So big damage, 5 and 6 on that tip of the spear. 11 damage turn out of the banner spear is pretty nice. Oh yeah, 4 and 6 is pretty decent. And then Drifter is able to come in, use his crude spear to actually reach. And I think I crit here as well. Oh no, never mind. I lied. But still, 4 damage, and then getting to pick something to take some shockwave is pretty nice. And these monsters, I mean, it was very kind of them to clump up for the shockwaves. But now at this point, I mean, they're just going to absolutely shred through Banner and Bone. And so I think they end up eating all of the attacks and then they die. I was just discarding cards so that they would keep tanking for Drifter. And so now it's just the lone Drifter all by himself. What's he gonna do? Yeah, so I mean, he has to move forward and save as many ticks as possible, because the only way to win this is going to be to get insane damage. But it's still not really possible. Well, luckily, the crushing weight with the attack before was exactly enough to kill, and then now everything here has 2 health. So if I had had the long rest perk and could have kept my retaliate... Oh, I guess they were healing this turn, though. It would have been really nice to get 3 retaliates off and kill all of them right there. I'm also really low on crushing weight and shockwave now, which definitely proves to be a problem. I did at least get some herbs. I don't think I got any on Banner Spear. I still have it up on the side. No, Banner Spear looted a random item, which I... Oh, I forgot. I got the item that lets you recover a card from your discard when you lose a card to damage. And gain regenerate. So, I mean, it would have procced 1 time, but I don't think it would have made a difference. Do take a little bit of damage, but I was able to survive at least, barely. And brittled again. But they both only have 2, so I can kill with Shockwave. The problem is just that if I kill with Shockwave, then I don't have Shockwave anymore. So I should Prudent Preparation with Precision Aim here, right? Okay, well that was dumb. That was dumb, because I could have moved with Precision Aim and gotten a tick back. And then the Shockwave not... Whoops. Oh well. At least I kill both of them. And then Drifter just runs to the final room. And it was so much smaller than I thought it was going to be. I was really anticipating something a lot worse. But in the end, I fall a little bit short. I think I did pull 1 more crit. Yeah, I did the monster turns in the wrong order, but... How do I survive that? Oh, yeah. Crude hide armor makes me only take 1. And then now I am poisoned and brittled. I just put it on early. And then now I think I need... Oh, okay. I got lucky with that miss. So it wouldn't have even been this close had I not gotten so lucky. But obviously this is my final turn. So no shot it ever works. And I think this uses all of my crushing weights. Oh no, I would still have 1 left. I was just looking to see if there was any loot that I could reach with my move 4. Which maybe I would have been able to with the move 4 and then the loot boots. But the attack for 4 kills and then just a little bit close so I can get a loot from killing something. But that's where it ends. So looking at it, what were my biggest mistakes? Obviously, the biggest mistake was giving the Shrike Fiend an extra attack and letting it attack the Bone Shaper when she shouldn't have been hit, making her lose 2 cards from the discard. The other mistake was not identifying who needed to kill what fast enough, because we saw as soon as Drifter got into that top half of the map, he shredded those Wind Demons. I mean, Drifter just made them disappear. And I also, I mean, looking back at it now, I think I know that I wanted the Bone Shaper by itself to face the Shrike Fiends. So maybe that's just something that I can keep in mind for the future, that Bone Shaper can 1v1 a Shrike Fiend if I'm ever in a situation like that. But it's way harder when there's more than one Shrike Fiend, just because of the suffer damage and the multi-targets. Like, you know, if a multi-target is just hitting one skeleton, I have shielding and stuff like that that I can use to mitigate some of that damage. But when there are 2 of them, it's just not really doable. I mean, anything else to glean from that? I needed to look at Banner Spear's cards more carefully, because had I brought the Banner of Hope, that would have helped a lot. My placement on the Banner of Courage wasn't amazing. And I didn't even consider, like, granting the Banner of Courage a move for it to run away. And that would have been really good. Was the turn where they hit the triangle, that was the one where I was disarmed, right? Yep. So this turn I was disarmed, and so what I should have realized, since Wind Demons have so many multi-target cards, we saw them draw their melee on the next turn where they hit in the triangle pattern. I should have realized this and played Regroup and moved the Banner of Courage away. Or, I mean, maybe just, like, moved it behind. Like, with Regroup, I could move the Bone Shaper out of the way and the Banner of Courage behind. And then, or if I just go fast on Banner Spear, I could have moved the Banner Spear back. I could have moved the Drifter in with Regroup, and I could have moved the Banner of Courage away or something. Like, if I had moved Banner of Courage here and Drifter right here, then they wouldn't have been able to hit. Only this guy would have hit the Banner of Courage, and it just would have taken 1. And this guy would have hit these 2, and then I would have gotten some retaliate on the Drifter. And then I guess this guy would have just gone here and hit the Drifter and been retaliated on as well. So, I mean, that right there, that would have been huge. Because I believe this next turn is the one where I move the Drifter up, and I just didn't even consider granting him the movement. I didn't consider moving the Drifter and the Banner with Regroup here. Because I really wanted to get the Regroup with a good tip of the spear. But, I mean, at this point, Banner Spear's just there to be a face tank, right? Not really for the damage output. Just because Drifter has... I guess I didn't really realize how well the Drifter was going to rip through the Wind Demons at this point. So I guess that's just some knowledge for the future. And then in the end, I was going really fast. I mean, I don't know if I played the end game perfectly optimally, but it got closer than I expected it to. So there we go. That's what we're going to go with for this one. Let me know. Should I replay the level? I'll probably play a different level next, and then people can let me know if I should replay this level and try it with Bone Shaper on bottom. I'm kind of interested. I kind of want to just try it now, so I don't know. You tell me.